There is a dangerous disease that kills more dreams than failure ever will. It is not a lack of talent, and it is not bad luck. It is the seduction of tomorrow. In a valley cradled by emerald hills and ancient forests, there lived a young man named Elias, who suffered deeply from this affliction. At 25 years old, Elias was a physical specimen of perfection, with broad shoulders, clear eyes, and a mind that moved faster than lightning. If you spoke to him for 5 minutes, you would be convinced he was destined for greatness because he possessed a silver tongue and a vivid imagination. He would sit in the village square, surrounded by friends, his voice booming with confidence as he gestured toward the barren patch of land he inherited from his father. He promised that one day the field would not just be dirt, but a gold mine with crops so bountiful that traders would travel from the capital just to buy from him. The villagers would nod, captivated by his vision, whispering that Elias had so much ambition and potential. But potential is a heavy thing to carry if you never set it down and get to work. There was a rot at the center of Elias's life, a silent, invisible chain that held him down. He was addicted to the comfort of his own laziness. When the rooster crowed at dawn, piercing the silence of the morning, the other men of the village were already out of bed, sharpening their scythes and marching into the fields to battle the earth. Not Elias. He would roll over, burying his face in his soft pillow, muttering that he needed just 5 more minutes or that a rested mind was a sharp mind. By the time he finally dragged himself out of bed, the sun was high and scorching, so he would sit in the cool shade of an olive tree sipping water and watching his neighbors work. He told himself he was planning to work smarter, not harder, but while he planned and dreamed, his field remained a graveyard of dust. He loved the idea of success, but he despised the sweat required to buy it. One evening, as the sky turned a bruised purple and the air cooled, a visitor came to Elias's gate. It was Elder Malik, his uncle, a man carved from granite with hands rough like tree bark and a face mapped with wrinkles earned through decades of toil. Malik did not smile as he leaned on his wooden staff and stared at the depressing sight of Elias's cracked, lifeless earth. When he asked Elias why the land was silent, despite his promises of a golden harvest, Elias laughed it off with his usual charm, claiming he was waiting for the perfect season and would start tomorrow. Malik sighed, knowing that tomorrow was the thief stealing his nephew's life. He commanded Elias to stand and pulled 2 small, distinct pouches from his pocket, revealing 2 magic seeds. Malik explained that the first seed, a heavy golden kernel, was the seed of ambition. If planted and cared for, it would grow into a tree of unimaginable majesty, providing fruit, shade, and wealth. The second seed, dark and jagged, was the seed of laziness. Malik warned that if planted, this seed would grow with terrifying speed, producing only thorns and weeds that would choke the life out of everything else. He pressed both seeds into Elias's palm, telling him that the future of his field and his soul depended entirely on which one he chose to feed. Elias, thinking the choice was laughable, took the seeds and vowed to plant the ambition seed, for he desired the wealth and success it promised. However, feeling tired from a day of doing nothing, he decided to wait until the morning to plant them perfectly. But when morning came, the bed felt too soft and breakfast seemed more important. Days turned into weeks and the seeds sat on the table, gathering dust until one afternoon, out of sheer boredom, Elias finally walked out to the field. He poked 2 holes in the ground, dropped the seeds in without preparing the soil, and told himself that nature would do the rest. He went back to his life of leisure, forgetting to water them or check the soil. A month passed, then two, before Elias decided to check on his progress. He strolled out expecting to see a golden sapling, but was met with a horror show. On the right side, where the dark seed lay, a monstrous infestation of thick, thorny weeds had erupted, spreading like snakes and strangling the earth. On the left, the ambition tree was nothing but a tiny yellowed sprout, gasping for life and suffocating under the encroaching weeds. Panic set in as Elias fell to his knees, and suddenly Elder Malik appeared behind him. Malik pointed his staff at the field, declaring it a mirror of Elias's life. He explained with intense gravity that ambition is fragile. It needs care, effort, and daily water, or it dies. Laziness, however, is a weed that grows on its own without any help. It feeds on neglect, growing while you sleep and procrastinate, eventually consuming everything until only thorns remain. The realization hit Elias harder than a physical blow. He saw that he wasn't a victim of bad luck, but the villain of his own story. Every time he said, tomorrow, he had watered the weeds. Terrified of dying with a wasted life, Elias made a choice in the darkness of the field. The next morning, before the sun had even risen, Elias marched out to the field. He didn't have tools, so he used his hands to grab the thickest, thorniest weeds. The thorns pierced his palms and his back screamed in agony, but he ripped them from the earth with a primal scream. He hauled heavy buckets of water from the well to the dying sprout of ambition, pouring it gently and shielding the weak plant from the harsh sun. Day after day, he fought the war against his own nature, refusing to stop even when his body wanted to quit. Slowly, the ambition seed responded to his discipline. It drank the water, turned green, and began to climb toward the sky. Years rolled by, and Elias transformed from a soft, talkative boy into a man of iron discipline with calloused hands and intense eyes. His field was no longer dirt, but home to a magnificent, colossal tree that bore sweet, abundant fruit, just as Malik had promised. Elias became the wealthiest farmer in the region, known not as the boy with potential, but as the man who fought his laziness and won. The lesson he left behind is simple. Everyone holds two seeds in their soul. The seed of ambition is weak and needs your daily sweat to survive, while the seed of laziness is strong and needs only your inaction to destroy you. Do not wait for motivation, for it is fleeting. Start today, pull out the weeds, and water your ambition, because the longer you wait, the harder the roots become.